All right, hey guys. So basically, everyone on Reddit right now is really upset. If we go look at the StarCraft Reddit, people are like really sad. They're like, let's see, it's Blizzard and StarCraft. You know, there's like memes basically where the CEO of Blizzard is saying, "Oh, StarCraft, that's not my game. I don't own that." They really don't even remember that we exist. Someone has posted where Blizzard is obviously putting out their quarterly. I don't know what this is. I'm pretty sure this is from their quarterly investor report. I think this is one of their business investment reports, right? I think that's what this is taken from. And this hasn't mentioned StarCraft 2 in like a decade. Basically since Legacy of the Void came out, one of their investment reports. But because at the moment, everyone is very sensitive that Blizzard forgot about us. So there's all these memes going on about this. Apparently there's a new beta launcher of Battle.net and StarCraft isn't in it because it's like filed away as like an old game that doesn't get primary space in the new launcher or something, which I guess is something like this. I don't know what this new launcher is. I don't know what that is. But basically, for a few days now, there's been nonstop people complaining about this. And this all stems back from, obviously, there's been kind of budget cuts and changes in the last year, going back to Blizzard, firing a lot of employees. The big thing which pissed everyone off was this video, which was the recap video posted on Twitter by Blizzard. And everyone was like, hey, did you guys forget StarCraft existed? I think I have to refresh this. That's not playing. So basically what happens is there's just a video. They're talking about Diablo game releases. Remember, there was like there's very little new StarCraft 2 content coming out. We've got a Mengsk commander and that's it. So they've got some stuff here about the new Overwatch game, but what you're going to notice is there's very little about any of the esports. So let's see. Did they even have the Hearthstone champ? Did they have her picking up the trophy? At least. I hope they at least had that. Let's take a look. It's all just community stuff, yada yada yada. There's no esports mention at all yet. Okay, there we go. So they do show Lion winning. That was nice. So she gets about 20 seconds in this video, which is great because, she's crying. It's an emotional moment. It's awesome. First time I think that a female has won big tournament at Blizzard, at BlizzCon. That's great. And then they show, I think it's like, what is this? Like 10 seconds of the Overwatch League winners. And I think that's it. We skimmed through about 20 seconds as well at most. And then it's just them being like, hey, thank you, our fans, yada yada. So there is zero mention of StarCraft 2 in here. And I was like, that's shit. You're not even going to show Dark holding the trophy? That is so shit, right? I'm with everyone else on this. I'm like, dude, that's terrible. What the fuck? You couldn't cut 5 seconds of StarCraft in there? But the thing is, I don't see this as like a conscious decision necessarily by Blizzard to shun StarCraft. I literally see it as like their company has been changing so much, and like there's just some weird things going on, which I think would best be described as like, when like big mega corporations just like shit doesn't make sense. There's like a department that doesn't do anything. You're like, what the fuck do these guys do? And then just like, we don't know. We didn't even know what our job is. I feel like it's so much reorganization and so many people lost their jobs at the start of the year that like there's weird shit like this that just happens. Don't get me wrong, I'm not apologizing for it, but just to put it in context, everyone on the Overwatch League Reddit was super upset as well. They're like, what the fuck? You guys gonna put like 10 seconds of Overwatch in there and that's it? I thought this was your title game that's like your main esport, and you show more Hearthstone than the game that's like, got $60 million teams and all this shit. Not just that. So people were like, well, this comes off the back of, did you guys know, but StarCraft had its finals crammed into the arena for one day. We had like an 11-hour day broadcast. I mean, how shit is that? We had to cram a 2-day show into one day. And everyone was like, yeah, well, they don't care about StarCraft. That's why they did it. Everyone in the Overwatch League subreddit and in their community was like, wait, we're having to do our whole World Cup crammed into the arena on one day as well? And they were really upset about that. Not just, and you'll be like, oh, but they had, they had their opening games to it cast, they were cast from like some shitty little room upstairs in BlizzCon. Like there was I don't think they had any cameras for the casters. I don't think they had any camera on the players even. I don't know. It was like very basic. So basically, okay, just audio issues for you, not me. Good. So yeah, I mean, essentially their show was also very limited. Their Overwatch World Cup got cut a huge amount. That was not the same Overwatch World Cup with, like, I think they had maybe half as many teams they flew in for it. They crammed it into only one stage day. So my point here is I just want to point out that, like, it's not like the Overwatch community was particularly happy either. So I just want the StarCraft community, because everyone's a bit isolated in the StarCraft community, where we're hardcore gamers, a lot of us don't follow Overwatch or other things, to remember that right now, like with BlizzCon, it seems like it's too big a convention, too many games for only 2 days. And for maybe the Anaheim Convention Center is not even big enough. I think it's big enough. I think they just need a third day, to be honest, for BlizzCon to work properly. I also think it's just something where right now, obviously, like there was so much, I guess, spending on esports in the previous year, and Blizzard's clearly this year gone through that, let's cut back on a lot of things. And with some of that, some good shit, which they really shouldn't be cutting, goes, in my opinion. But I'm sure they are also cutting down some inefficiencies at the same time. So, like, I do have to give credit where it's due, is like that all companies do have to go through cycles of just cutting back, overspending on things that aren't profitable. You can't just keep throwing things into the passion of esports. But that being said, like, I still really wish Blizzard would give a lot more respect to StarCraft. I agree with that. I just want everyone to have a little bit of perspective, because from what I've been hearing from people in my chat on Reddit, I feel like there's a lot of people who are in the mindset that Blizzard doesn't care about StarCraft at all. But what we're seeing is clearly a huge reorganization in how Blizzard manages their esports programs and how they run BlizzCon. I personally feel like BlizzCon needs an extra day, or we as StarCraft, I was talking to the esports team. They were like, we really feel we do need 2 days next year. This was too much to squeeze into 1 day. This did kind of, apparently it was a bit of an act of necessity. They're like, okay, we kind of had to do this just because of all the different things that happened and came together, and it was always hard. But Blizzard, the fact that they did manage to get visas for us to at least come in and cast was great. I think it would be awesome if we did a separate WCS Global Finals event myself, where we could just have our own esports community there and have it be a pure StarCraft event would be great. But yeah, basically, I just want everyone to remember that, like, it's not just StarCraft getting this treatment completely. Now, there are some things where, don't get me wrong, StarCraft is clearly getting very little development in future. It is clearly being, not a big driver of profit or focus for Blizzard right now. I have heard whispers that WCS should be going ahead the next year or two. As always, this is a very stressful time of year where everyone goes, why haven't they announced it? And then usually late December, mid-January, suddenly they announce everything. And that's because Blizzard has to lock in new contracts and things like that with companies who are going to run the events. Obviously, we had StarLadder this year. DreamHack did one event. DreamHack did a lot of the events for the previous few years. Before that, it was ESL running it. I think we'll definitely have, a pretty decent circuit for the next couple of years. I'm not sure exactly what it'll look like, so I don't want to speak out my ass, but I just want everyone to have just that little bit of context of the fact that BlizzCon was a little bit crowded for all of the games. Except maybe Hearthstone. I think Hearthstone had a pretty nice set-off, actually. I'm not sure, though. But, yeah, so everything ebbs and flows. I think StarCraft is a timeless game that, we had some of the most incredible viewership last year's BlizzCon. We had pretty damn good viewership this BlizzCon as well, despite it being Zerg-dominated. I think, the balance changes coming up in this new patch soon are going to be great. We're going to have an awesome Home Story Cup coming up in just, a week and a half, 2 weeks' time. So looking forward to 2 weeks till Home Story Cup, guys. It's gonna be awesome. So thanks for hanging out. I hope just anyone who is kind of only following StarCraft and is feeling really depressed that StarCraft is getting like disrespected and thrown by the wayside. I just hope you understand there are still some very passionate people at Blizzard working on it. I think we should still always push for more attention and more respect for our game, because it's the friggin' best game there is out there, and it is the best RTS to watch. It is so friggin' good. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Yeah. Just a quick little update on that. Let me just read chat, see if anyone mentioned any other good points that I missed. I heard that after 2020, Blizzard will stop supporting SC2. I don't think that's true. I don't think so. We'll see what happens. community. Yeah, I mean, there's actually a lot of RTSs coming out. I'm gonna try a Year of Rain maybe tomorrow, in a few days as well, this coming week, and see if I like that game. Thanks to 100-bit cheer, Tita and Destroyer. All right, cool. Yeah. No, it'll be at least a few years till a StarCraft 3 or Warcraft 4 comes out, I would imagine, guys. All right, guys, thank you very much for hanging. Have a good night.